Hi guys. We'll start in just a second. Just let me get a little settled down here. You are here for my panel after all. But for those who don't know who I am, I'm sure there are some wayward soul out there that can probably hear me and just wants to hear me. I do. I don't know. I'm hyped up on Red Bull right now. This is my first convention of the year, or at least first out-of-state convention of the year. So I'm still getting a little bit of my bearings and trying to not gas myself a little too quickly. But I have so much fun at these things. I love traveling. I love going to conventions. I've been going since before I started in voiceover, and I was even a volunteer staff at SakuraCon up in Seattle for a long time. So this has just always been kind of my home away from home, doing these things. So again, forgive me if I get a little frazzled, hyped. I'm very ADD on top of everything, and I have a tendency to ramble. So the structure of this panel is going to be, there is no structure. Essentially, if you guys want a gear shift and have a question, please just raise your hand and don't let me just go off, because I'll be talking about wrestling the entire time, or about my former roommate's cats, or some stupid thing like that. I don't know. Anyway, so as far as what I've done, I've played a number of very cool roles that I've been fortunate to be a part of, including recently Takeshi Aiza in Your Lie in April and Gopher in Seven Deadly Sins, which both are now available on Netflix. I was Biscuit in Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, which will be coming out in Toonami soon. See here, as far as a lot of my early work, and early means just like a few years ago when I started professionally, I was Haruyuki Arita in Excel World, Alibaba Saluja in Magi, the Kingdom of Magic, and the Labyrinth of Magic, seasons 1 and 2, and Ryuji Takasu in Toradora, which is still one of my favorites. I've been doing this for about 5-6 years now. I moved right after I graduated college with a major in theater arts and a minor in Japanese and English literature. Can't speak a lick of Japanese anymore. I've lost all of it due to lack of practice, unfortunately. But I've always been a fan of anime. I've always had a love for it. I grew up watching Pokemon and then Card Captors, and then I caught Toonami after school with Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing and Sailor Moon and all those cool shows. Eventually, I started thinking maybe I could try it. There was a Japanese seiyuu in Seattle where I was living at the time, and she was one of the original voices of Macross, the original series. And she was looking for students and wanted to teach us in the Japanese method of anime voiceover, which is a little different actually than what we do here. And is anybody familiar with the voiceover process here in America? How we dub the products and how we dub the picture? Yeah, a little bit? Okay. Well, for those that aren't familiar, what we do is essentially, we're in the booth one person at a time, and we're recording each line individually, one by one, line by line. Hi. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. How we do it is by ADR, automated dialogue replacement, or automatic dialogue replacement, depending on who you ask. And it's 3 beeps in consecutive order in a pattern, and then on the 4th imaginary beep is when their lips start moving and you start talking. You go for it. So we'll get a preview in Japanese, beep, beep, beep. They start talking, you get a sense of their mood, the kind of tone they're going for. Are they loud? Are they yelling to somebody across the room? You know, you get just a little bit of preview of it, and then the next time they set the beeps up and you go. That's about it. We don't get the scripts beforehand. We don't get any preparation time. It's just, okay, we're going to set the voice and here's the lines. And they have to, and part of it is also because they have to rewrite the lines on the fly if something doesn't fit. If it has a couple of extra flaps or a couple of less flaps than it needs, then they're going to have to restructure the entire line to make it sound like English and make it work. So a lot of it is just the most multitasking you've ever done. You have to read, act, watch the lip flaps, be aware of everything. It's like rubbing your stomach, patting your head, kicking up your leg while hopping on one foot and trying to wink at the cute girl across the bar. It's difficult.
the other room, turning down the gain, or are you backing away from the mic? How do you do that without...
Yes, it's usually the engineer who, and sometimes we'll try and back off the mic because, you know, they can still get a lot of wind noises when you're trying to scream or something, and the pop filter can only do so much on that. But recording is a three-legged process. It's the actor, the director, and the engineer, and each one is just as important as the other. The engineer is there to make you sound good, and they usually, when you get in, they'll set up the mic so you get kind of the proper positioning, so you get everything fully on in there. It only can capture what you give it. The mic is very sensitive. It can hear your food digesting, so they need to make sure they place it properly, and all they're getting is just you, because I've had times where I go into the booth, my stomach's gurgling, just crap. Messed up so many takes because I was hungry. But yeah, when it comes to screaming, it depends on the microphone as well in the studio. Like sometimes they'll ask you to back off because they'll be using a more sensitive microphone. Some will use a cardioid, which is what captures in a heart shape around it. Some will use a unidirectional microphone, like a shotgun or something, which is just only capturing this little cone right in front of it. So it just depends. So you wouldn't be able to like really lean off of that, because as you can hear, this is probably single directional. As you could hear, it would go off a little bit. So it depends, honestly. I've done a lot of screaming, and thankfully the engineer has been there to just kind of really quickly bit on it's like his instrument, it's his guitar running that mixing board, so they're able to catch it really quickly, and if not, they'll just ask me, okay, you gotta do it again. We just didn't get it. There have been plenty of takes where they're like, technically we need another take. It sounded good, but you get bumps and stuff like that. Any other questions? Yes?
Actually, in relation to Iron Blood Orphans.
Yes.
What was your reaction? Two quick questions, kind of. Question one, what was your reaction when you saw the audition for a character named Biscuit? Follow-up question, your reaction when you saw his little sisters, Cookie and Cracker.
Okay, I knew he was dead at that point, at the beginning of the series. Like, and I'm not going to spoil what happens to him, but like before even watching the series, I got it at like episode 1. I see a character named Biscuit. He's this little friendly fat character, the intelligent one of the group. And he has two cute little sisters, Cookie and Cracker, who he just wants to put through school, and he wants to help out his grandma on her farm, and the red death flags are flying everywhere with this character from episode 2. It was horrible. So I just spent the entire time laughing with the producer, like, so when am I going to get the axe? When is it going to happen? So I won't spoil what actually happens to him.
He's the only one in the crew that isn't an orphan, like that actually has.
Yeah, completely. He has his grandma at least, but but still, it was. I laughed at that, and his name is Biscuit. Come on, he has no chance. Any other questions? Oh, again. I wanted to start rambling, man. So for those that did notice, I came up in a lucha. Yes, I have a question.
How was voicing Gopher in some of the episodes? Because it's kind of like monotone.
It was interesting, actually. Gopher is very dry, very deadpan, and I have that kind of sense of humor myself. I love that kind of sarcastic delivery and just completely bluntness. But we had to try really hard not to make him sound too robotic, because that's just boring. I mean, he is monotone. He just doesn't understand emotions. He's like a doll, I think, is the best way to describe him. Kind of a proxy for Merlin, almost. So it was interesting to try and play off of that, and not really, because if I just go really monotone, there would be nothing to it. It would be boring. So I had to be pretending like I don't know what emotions are. I don't know. It was a lot of fun though. Once we got it dialed in, I just went off and had a blast just doing all his deliveries towards Mon and King, and all the blunt quips he had towards them. And I'm hoping I get a lot more of him in the second season, because he is just so unexpected sometimes. His head will come off and you're just like, oh my god, he's dead. He's like, oh dear, I lost this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he does that.
Any other questions? Yes?
What is your favorite character? You have one?
My favorite character that's going to be hard to answer, and I think Lauren put this, what was that?
Or there's just too many.
There's too many, yes, but also as Lauren put it, a lot of them, your characters are like your babies. You're working really hard to bring all of them to life, so it's like choosing a favorite child almost. And you don't want to, you put in just as much hard work in everything you've done here, so it's hard to say. But that being said, I would have to say that I have a very high fondness for Ryuji Takasu and Toradora, simply because I spent probably more time on that character than any other one. That was a very dialogue-heavy show, and I think 50% of the dialogue was shared simply by Ryuji and Taiga. So we were in that studio for, I believe, I think for my character alone, for 25 episodes, we recorded 150 hours, simply for my character alone. So again, the most time I've ever spent on any one character, and that includes going through theater rehearsals. I don't think I could even say I've spent 150 hours on a single play in rehearsals. But I have a fondness for him. But again, all the other characters I still love. Ryuji is top up there, but Haruyuki, I relate to all of them in some form or another. Haruyuki was a geek who had no friends in elementary school, who played video games after school. That was me when I was a kid. Alibaba is really driven and passionate and really wants to accomplish his dreams and be the best king he can be. And I'm driven, I'm passionate, I really want to be the best at what I do. And every single one has something that I put myself into. That's what they say, is every character has a bit of you in it, otherwise it's not acting, it's lying. Yes. No, just ask for some advice. Just ask them, hey, this is my goal, this is what I'm trying to do, and then they'll give you what they can from there. It'll be kind of just, they'll get to decide how much they want to help you with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about the best advice I could give. Again, it's something I still struggle with. I just don't, again, it hinges on their reputation, and I never feel comfortable with that, even if I would think that I could back it up and I'm talented enough to even if it depends on the studio, because some studios are more strict than others, especially when you have credits in only anime or credits in only video games. They'll kind of see that. But yeah, it's a process. It's who you know, and hopefully they'll notice the work that you've been doing on your own accord. But sometimes you just got to kick down the doors.
It's weird. It's like it's things when you know, but it's hard to approach sometimes.
It is. It's the networking idea of things, and I'm not a very social guy. I'm kind of an introvert. I'm a very enthusiastic, very energetic introvert. I'm an outgoing introvert, but I do much better in front of a crowd than I would ever do in a crowd. And trying to put myself out there to meet new people and network and stuff like that. It is a hassle, and just some personalities do it a lot better than others, but it's something that's kind of you have to do, unfortunately. So I'll continue to force myself out there if it means that I can keep getting these wonderful opportunities and voice these amazing characters, because I've just been having so much fun with it. And if that's the result, yeah, I'll take a slight discomfort of having to awkwardly get my way through a conversation. Again, I'm very ADD, I'm very socially awkward. This is the coolest you're going to see me, and I'm not even sure how well this is coming across. Yes, you have a question?